Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock Doc podcast featuring Dr. London Smith. It's the podcast where two dudes who shouldn't have a podcast have a podcast. Introducing the host of this podcast, Dr. London Smith.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock Doc podcast, where we discuss fitness and health, and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as pleurodesis and bratwurst show. So I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Dr. London, it's been a couple months since we've checked in on our social media, and I've got to tell you, it is not going well.
Okay, and is this the social media that you tried to make, or is this one of the mainstream social media sites?
Oh, you're saying Twitter, but it's CWITTER, C for Cameron Twitter?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that is still TBD. But I've added some new under construction GIFs to the homepage.
Okay, yeah,
which are really cool, and I think everyone should check out.
Because I have it set to my homepage, so like I'm always checking. I'm like, ooh, is there going to be another like way to know that it's shut down and not working?
Well, right now there's a cartoon guy, right, and he's hammering, but then the board he's hammering falls on his head and it bonks him, and so it's sort of funny like that.
Okay, that's new. Do you mind if I check it right now? Because I'm actually pretty excited.
Go ahead and check it.
I didn't. Yeah, it's. Okay, it just says website down. Is that...
That is a new feature that I've been working on lately. It's just having the website down, just because everyone's on their phone these days. So it's like, why don't we pick some times where it's actually appropriate to use the internet? Not just 24 hours a day. What if the internet only worked from like 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m.?
So it sounds like you're really just trying to reinvent Twitter, if we're being honest there.
Yeah, for a specific period of time, yeah. Oh, you're saying Twitter already does that. Twitter only works for an hour and a half a day or so.
And it seems to be trying to get everyone to get off their phones and to just experience life because it's getting worse.
It's getting so much worse, yeah.
Yeah.
But Dr. Lennon, no, I'm not talking just about Twitter. I'm also talking about our TikTok, our Insta. The metrics are bad. We've actually been getting somehow people have been sending us asking for refunds on our TikTok, and we've been having to pay it out. I don't really understand how that works.
Yeah, well, because we've tried to charge for sure. Like I can give that. We definitely tried to charge people for stuff on there.
Yeah, and no one's paying for it. But I'm just getting a ticket. I didn't even know that I could get like tickets, like support tickets. And so I'm getting sent support tickets asking, like, I need a full refund. I paid $100 for this. Can I get $100 back? I don't really have the info, so I just send them $100. It's bleeding us dry, Dr. London. So I'm thinking a revamp here. So a while ago, maybe a few weeks ago, we talked about TikTok, and we talked about TikTok trends specifically. And we tried to get Dr. London to make some own trends. Oh, I think we made a mistake, though. Kids don't actually care about the trends. They just care about the sound.
Okay.
You know, on TikTok?
Right.
Like, kids don't watch Breaking Bad, but they're all, like, doing the, like, who cooked here, like, meme or whatever.
That's right. That's the main reason the show's popular is because of the little clips.
Because of that little sound.
Yeah.
And so, Dr. Lennon, we just need you to just pitch some sounds that would be great for TikToks to do, and then we'll record it and we'll upload it, and then it will go viral, and then we'll be the ones making money instead of paying money to all these viewers.
Okay. Great. Yeah. Okay, so just something original, something that's us, but also mainstream feel enough.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, let's say you're reacting to, let's say your boot has gotten stuck in your mouth, and I don't mean in a metaphorical way, like foot stuck in your mouth. I mean, you were trying to see how flexible you were. You were trying to put your foot over your head, but in that process, you shoved your boot in your mouth, and you can't. It's stuck.
Okay, so we did already post that video, but you want me to do a separate sound that's like describing it?
No, I want you to just be acting it out, because the video we did was silent, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We were going for sort of a Steamboat Willie sort of thing.
Yeah.
We were thinking like, this is the wave of the future. People have been doing sound for decades.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to silent. It's all
go
cyclical.
Back to the
technology is cyclical. Yeah.
Okay. So just the sound of that. Okay. let's cook some meth. Is that
how you sound? Again, the video is silent, so I don't know how you sounded in that video. But was that when you had the boot shoved in your mouth? That's how it sounded?
No, that's not how it sounded in real life, but that's how, if I were to do voice acting on top of it, that's how I would do it. If that makes sense.
All right, DJ Dylan, is that good?
Yes.
All right, let's cut it, post it. All right, we need a second one. Okay, let's say you're at the beach and your crush is there.
Okay, good, yes.
And you've stepped in a hole, you've tripped and fallen, and somehow in the process of falling, your trunks have fallen down.
Right. Okay.
And then a dog runs over,
Mm-hmm.
starts peeing on your head. He owns you.
Right.
And now go ahead, act that out, and then your reaction to it.
Okay. My job is beach. So people get, like the Barbie movie, we want to keep pushing these. I'm assuming you want me to use the most popular thing to say, right?
As opposed to inventing your own sounds?
But rebranded.
Okay. So we're sort of expanding. It's no longer just like Jock Doc originals. It's more like Jock Doc ripoffs.
Well, because you got to remember, Breaking Bad was stealing stuff from actual, meth heads and stuff. Like they didn't do original content.
That's true. They didn't invent like doing meth and like drug cartels and stuff.
Yeah, and the Barbie movie, theirs was all original idea, like that.
The Bobby movie, is that the grilling in Australia movie? Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's also, I mean, there are two different ones. There's also the police force in Britannia as well. That Bobby movie, which fingers crossed, I do have a callback for that. But it's separate. Okay. Okay. One more soundbite then.
Yeah, and I'm gonna this is a free for all. I'm gonna let you decide. You get to be creative here, Dr. London. But you got to set up the scenario so we listeners know what we're hearing.
Right. Okay. So, I'm in the jungle, and I see a big old cat. I say, meow 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 meow.
Okay, going for something that's trending, going for something that's already popular in the mainstream, the Meow Mix song from maybe the 90s or so.
Yeah. Well, once again, it's all cyclical. It's all going to come back. So that won't be useful now because right now it's silent films, but like give it another decade. And then
once sound comes back into favor, mark our words. The Meow Mix song will be number one on the charts once again. The Billboard 100 will not know what to do with the impressions.
Yeah, which is and so that's why we're hoping to be consultants for the Billboard 100 when that time comes, so that we will tell them what to do with it. So this is all planting the seeds for future corporate work.
I love that the Billboard has switched from ranking the top songs using like an algorithm to it's just a board of people and they just choose like this song's number 1 this week, this song's number 4, this song really feels like a number 3 song
because they won't know what to do. Like you said, at a certain point they won't know.
Yeah, the metrics will be so like bozo crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so that
okay, I think we're good. I mean, we got I'm cooking meth here.
Yeah,
I'm on the beach is my boss, I think you said
something like that.
And then the Meow Mix song. Yeah, I mean, we're going to go viral with these. DJ Dylan, cut them up, post them.
All right, so that's... We get it?
I don't know, he's just looking at me with a really, really angry face.
Yeah, well, that's his face. That's just his face.
Oh, yeah, he does have a resting Dylan face. I forgot about that.
Okay, so that was our producer, Cameron. Also with us is Digital in the house. All right, Cameron, we have a sponsor today.
No way.
Yeah, and it's...
You're Joshin.
No, I'm Dr. London. No, you'll remember next time. So, it's Caldera Lab is our sponsor. We know that first impressions matter and that you have to take care of your skin to make that great first impression. And the best way to do that is with Caldera Lab. And I learned this firsthand whenever I went to an impressionists convention.
Yeah, I mean, any convention you go to, obviously, your first impression is going to be very important. Like the first impression people have of you, it's especially important at an impressionist convention because this is what they do. This is all they care about. This is what they live and breathe.
Caldera Lab is great for creating high-performance men's skincare products, but I'll say at this convention, some impressionists were doing impressions of people with really bad skin, and so I just want to say, like, this didn't help as much with that. For me, so a lot of people had very dry, flaky skin that was like coming off, and like I don't want to say it was gross because like people have different skin types, but like for me, it wasn't what I could successfully do an impression of. So that's where I struggled.
Well, and for me, I typically have my famous Robert De Niro voice. Hey, what's going on? I'm Robert De Niro. And Robert De Niro, of course, famously has just a really ugly, gnarly, grisly face. But I also wanted to look my best, so I didn't just go as him. I went as clean skin, clear skin, nice skin, Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro, if he had really nice, clean skin. And guess what? Guess what helped me do that, Dr. London? Take a guess.
It was Caldera Lab.
It was Caldera Lab, yeah.
That's right. So, they create these high-performance men's skincare products, and the regimen leads off their product lineup. It's a twice-a-day routine to transform your skin. The skincare world seems very heavily female-driven, and it's long been the wild, wild west for men. So that's why they make the solution simple with these 3 products in the regimen: the clean slate, the base layer, and the good. So the clean slate starts to end your day. It's a face wash that just leaves your skin refreshed, which, once again, not a De Niro style thing to be doing. I'd say there's actually kind of a long list of very old celebrities that these products would not help you to match with impression-wise.
Unless part of your impression is that they now have great skin.
Yeah, if you do an impression of them with a twist.
Yeah.
So
like the great skin Robert De Niro, which was what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, I actually remember it. So the base layer is your daily moisturizer to hydrate your skin and jumpstart your day full of confidence. And you, once again, do want confidence at this convention because, wow, there were such good impressions. Because Cameron's impression was great, but there were people there who, like, could do a De Niro, but uglier, fatter, and, like, with a really bad, I don't want to say bad skin, but, like, skin that was rotting off.
Right, they did a traditional approach to a De Niro impression, whereas I had a more progressive, forward-thinking, new take on the character, so to say.
Yeah. So that was basically the good is your go-to multifunctional serum at night to help your skin look tighter and smoother and help reduce the visibility of wrinkles and fine lines. And every drop of that serum is packed with 3.4 million antioxidant units to protect your skin. And the Caldera Lab Icon Eye Serum, it addresses the 3 most common skin concerns around the eye, which is fine lines, dark circles, and puffiness. So, once again, for some of these aging celebrities, their eyes will be drooping down, sometimes below their cheeks, and it's once again it depends on what style of impression you're going for, which just everyone has their own version. But anyway, so Caldera Lab is the leader in men's skincare, made only with top-tier ingredients, and clinical trials have found 94% of men's skin showed an overall younger-looking appearance after using Caldera Lab for a few weeks. And just for our audience, we have an exclusive offer. And this is their best offer available anywhere. Use code JOCKDOC at calderalab.com and get 20% off right now. That's 20% off with code JOCKDOC at calderalab.com and make unforgettable first impressions that lead to the charming words, "You look younger." Unless you do a very, just very impressive impression of De Niro. Accurate.
Like mine. For example.
Okay.
Are you talking to me about great skincare?
Yeah, and that's
again, the great skin De Niro.
Yeah.
Are you talking to me about great skincare?
Yeah. So 20% off at calderalab.com with code JOCKDOC. And later, Cameron tells me that we can expect a very special guest.
That's right, Dr. London.
But before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. So, for a long time, our listener demographic was primarily composed of gossiping seamstresses who just cannot stand Lucius. He's such a creep. However, in our efforts to cater to them, we found that we were neglecting the many bot accounts that download our podcast. So, we made a video response to a comment on TikTok that claimed that not everyone should have a podcast. And our response video got some feedback that we want to address here. So, this is from user Callie Gibson. They said, crying laughing emoji, and then, y'all definitely shouldn't have a podcast, end quote. So that's really helpful. We take this listener feedback to improve. Every little bit of criticism helps us to know, okay, let's fine tune this. Let's steer a little bit away from, let's say, politics, and maybe a little bit more towards, I don't know, food, fun stuff, So this kind of feedback is really informative for us.
Unfortunately, this kind of feedback is also sort of a hindsight is 2020 kind of thing. I really wish we had heard this advice 4 years ago when the podcast started. Unfortunately, the podcast already exists. It's already started.
Yeah, for years now.
So unfortunately, we can't just undo that. We can't just change history. But yes, for our listeners out there thinking, should I start a podcast? Take this user's advice. Do not start a podcast. No one's going to listen to it. No one cares.
Well, I'm sorry. I should specify here because the feedback was, the original feedback was about how not everyone should have a podcast.
And then our response was, yes, everyone should have a podcast. Then the response to that
was y'all definitely shouldn't have. So it was very specific to us. So this is not broad advice. This is very specific. We should not. To which I would say, the damage is done. We can't really.
It's, again, hindsight's 2020. We're on a rocket ship to the moon at this point. This podcast is blasting off. If we shouldn't have a podcast, then
agreed, I guess.
That's fine too. But unfortunately, we've already
it's been done. Yes. Anyway, but thank you for listening and for that helpful, useful feedback. Now for today's medical topic, peroneal neuropathy. Peroneal neuropathy is a dysfunction of a common peroneal nerve, which is typically damaged at some point near the knee on its course down the leg. This damage can occur from wearing high boots or from pressure on the back of the knee. Clinically, patients with peroneal neuropathy present with weakness in the foot with decreased dorsiflexion and eversion, which is a decrease in the ability to lift the foot and move it outward from the body.
So that alone is already, that's not something you can do.
Yeah, well, because I wear these really high boots all the time.
Well, they're skates. So, you call them boots, but they're skates. So you specifically say you don't have to lift up your feet at all. You just sort of shimmy along.
Yeah, my high boot skate, so I can't lift my foot around, but I don't need to. Once you, it's one of these things, once technology advances enough, you stop needing all of this stuff,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Once you get your mech suit body going, you don't have to have all the trappings of muscles and ligaments in your body that are capable, or nerves that work properly.
Well, it's like how humans used to be so good at crouching, but now that we have chairs, that muscle has sort of atrophied. Humans are terrible at crouching.
Oh, yeah. No, I've seen you try to crouch.
Crouching, squatting, any of it. We can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
We've devolved.
It's why people should go to trade schools to learn to crouch better, is kind of where my stance is on that.
Well, that's why you say student debt shouldn't be canceled, because maybe don't go to college. Go to these trade schools and learn how to actually squat and crouch properly.
That's right. It's a redirecting. That's what student debt is. It's a guidance for you. But unfortunately, people also I need to know stuff. Look, I got a doctorate. What's it doing? I just wish I'd gone to trade school, Anyway, treatment involves removing the causative fashion choice, potentially. I won't give my skates up, obviously, but also pregabalin or gabapentin may also provide some relief for this peroneal neuropathy. All right, Cameron, you said that we have a guest today. Is that right?
That's right, Dr. London.
All right. Hello there. My name is drlondonsmith.com. This is our producer, Cameron. What was your name?
Ember Rose. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming. So what brings you here today?
Well, I mean, for the most part, I'm just kind of trying to get my voice out there to see if there's, someone out there who can kind of help me. Also, I just feel like you'd probably be interested in me and my skills. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. A lot of our guests come on because they say that we will find them interesting as a person, as a skill set, though.
Yeah, as skill set, I'm very multifaceted, which kind of leads me to my problems, but I wouldn't trade my talents for my problems.
So could you tell us what the skill is, or multi-skills is?
Yeah, so I mean, essentially, at the end of the day, I started off as a professional placeholder, really. So like it started really simply like, in lines and someone would be like, hey, can you hold my place? And I was like, sure. And I realized I was like really good at people, like holding places for people, like holding seats, like holding places in line. Then I got my big break. I got to be like a place sitter holder for the Oscars and the Grammys. And that was amazing.
Yeah. So like I thought, and this is going to sound overly critical maybe, but like that this kind of job could like maybe go to a house plant or, I don't know, like a footstool.
Like a cardboard standee.
Yeah.
Funny how you say this. So I started like really developing my skills because I really wanted to do this more. I mean, it was kind of my calling. So I was like, how can I get better? And so, I really started embodying, right, the person who I was taking their place. Turns out, I think it's probably because I grew up in the circus. Turns out I'm a shapeshifter. I can literally take on the characteristics. And so I've been place holding for way more than just like people holding people's seats. I mean, I've substituted for spouses, right? Even surgeons, like, doctor has to go to the bathroom, pop right in there, keep going to the surgery, pop right out.
I cannot tell you how many times I've been in surgery and thought, oh, I gotta pee so bad. I wish someone could blend in here.
I can literally anything. So, I mean, I've just done it all really. Like there isn't really anyone I can't substitute for.
And I mean, you mean this literally, right? You don't mean like I'm a good substitute jack of all trades. You mean
no,
that
literally
you look like this person. This is a rogue from X-Men sort of thing.
Like I'm a shapeshifter. Do you ever see the world of like the secret world of Alex Mack? How she can kind of just like basically mutate,
turn into liquid or whatever.
I basically do that energetically. I mean, you really can't tell the difference. People just don't even know that there's been a substitute.
Oh, wow. Did you ever see the show Ghost Writer? Where it was the kids and they like wrote books and there were ghosts involved?
I think my grandma told me about that once.
I'm in that one because I've been dead for like 35 years. Has that been established on the podcast, Dr. London?
I don't think there's a need to. I feel like the vibe you give is really that.
Okay, as long as it's clear to the audience, that's the whole point. This is sort of supposed to be like a scary, spooky, haunted podcast where like I'm a ghost.
The main
helping
thing
people
for the
out.
podcast, is well, and I should like this is, and I not to undermine anything else, but like this is sort of a spooktacular season of the podcast. We're in October. We're getting close to All Hallows Eve,
right?
So
the Night of Frights.
This is when Cameron actually becomes very active. As speaking of the shape-shifting thing, he's an aspiring poltergeist, but I don't know, Cameron, I don't know if you've really hit that level yet. And have you, Ember, have you ever tried becoming a poltergeist with your shape?
More than tried. I mean, I've embodied some intense beings, vampires, werewolves. One time, actually Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but actually like the actress while she was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But I've done it all, really. Yeah.
So you said you've replaced surgeon stuff. This begs to me the question of have you ever sort of longed to permanently replace someone, like take them out?
Yeah. So I mean, I've definitely fallen in love with some husbands.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the. I mean, it's not my main issue right now, but I definitely feel like it's definitely hard when you substitute for a spouse, and then the spouse likes you better.
Wait, so does the spouse come to you and say, "Hey, I need you to act like me," or are you doing this on your own initiative? You're just becoming other people.
Well, usually they hire me. So usually like a wife will, be like, hey, like it's Tuesday night and that's the night he likes to get frisky. Can, pop in for me? Because I'd rather not. And so,
Yeah, that's the part of marriage that most, yeah.
it depends on their relationship. But
Yeah.
yeah, so usually I get hired. It's kind of like against my ethics to just like substitute in without being hired. Plus, I need compensation. There needs to be an exchange, a reciprocal. I have to make money. So, depending on, the job, how much I charged, it varies. But yeah, I usually don't just pop in unannounced unless, there's been a little bit of, unless I like it. And that's been happening more and more. Actually, what's really happening is I'm starting to lose myself.
Oh no. You don't know who you are anymore because you've become so many other people.
Yeah. And I feel like, so now I'm just sort of like, there are times where like, I feel like I can't really like get back to who I am as quick as I used to. And I don't know if it's like, I don't know what's happening, if my cells are like actually changing. I thought maybe Dr. London maybe he's seen this condition before with other shapeshifters.
Cellular
but
dysplasia,
like,
yeah.
Cellular dysplasia, there's an actual term?
Yeah, it's usually more applied to like precancerous things, and I'm not saying that that's what you have, but just what you're describing. Well, I don't know. True answer there is I don't know. But whenever you say, you described what precancer sounds like, when you say that your cells are changing in an odd way.
Okay.
This is one of those things that people don't know about cancer because people only focus on the negatives. They say like, oh, this is sort of destroying your body. This is eating your organs. But if you apply yourself well enough, you can actually transform your cells to look like other people and use that to rob banks or whatever. And I think people would be a little more open and less critical to cancers if they sort of knew that thing. Am I right, Dr. London?
I mean, I'd say it's most of what I know about cancer is more on a cellular level, so it's hard to speak in such a macro way and how to apply it socially like you're describing. But I can say, for one, it's more complicated. Yeah. It's more complicated than people initially think.
Yeah, they should appreciate it more is what you're saying. Maybe try to get it.
Yeah, I'd read up on it. Yeah. So what else? Oh yeah, you said there are multiple issues. Do you want to just do a top 10 issue list?
Yeah. Okay. So top 10. I mean, I definitely I'm probably in love with at least 7 people right now.
Okay.
They're my main clients. It's when they're repeated clients, it's like you kind of get used to them. And so that's probably 1. 2, yeah, I'm definitely losing my identity. 3, apparently I'm like all cancer.
Right. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough whenever I have to deliver the news and it's based on what someone else describes is happening to them on a cellular level, because I gotta admit, I don't have a microscope on me right now. I can't actually cut off a sliver and check.
That's unfortunate for me. Okay.
We'll
just move on. 4, karma. I think I'm taking on other people's karma because, I mean, especially because I've substituted for criminals. 6, I mean, look, I've almost been electrocuted twice.
Can we go back to the criminals thing?
Oh,
yeah. So anyone can hire you. You're willing to do whatever it sounds.
Well,
like.
I was more willing to do it earlier on in my career because I was really trying to develop. Right. So now when I almost died in the electric chair, I kind of stopped with the death row substitutions.
Yeah,
you don't know when they're coming. So I thought I had they just wanted a quick out for a bit, one last hurrah. Then little did I know they were scheduled the next day.
Sorry,
that
the electric.
You went into it thinking like, oh, I'm going to get their last meal. This is a pretty sweet situation. Not realizing.
I was trying to do service for them. I was like, look, this is good. Like they just wanted to see their family one last time. They also claimed to not be guilty. So I felt like it was the right thing to do. But they didn't tell me that, or they didn't know. They didn't know that I was going to be substituting when they were going to be in the electric chair.
Right. They weren't going to come back voluntarily, and it sounds like.
I'm sorry, like this is going to make you sound a little, and I don't want to ask ages or whatever, but like, the electric chair isn't sort of the standard method of doing the death penalty at this point in time. It sounds like you've been at this for a while then, if you've been trying to sub in for
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I look young for my age.
Yeah.
I'm technically ageless because but that's what I think is happening with my system. It's like I'm taking on so many different people that my cells, like you said, cellular cancer is happening, right? So I think lately I've been actually substituting for younger kids, those who didn't want to go to school a lot. So maybe I'm like de-aging.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so wait, can you not just take on the form of your younger self and then just like look the same age forever?
Can I substitute for my younger self multidimensionally? Interesting.
So wait, it's not like you can just transform into anything you want. You have to be substituting for like someone who asked you to do it.
I mean, that's my job. Someone says like, will you substitute for me? And then there's this energetic exchange that happens and then I become them.
Oh, okay.
And then I unbecome them.
Okay, so it's less, you don't necessarily get to like choose the specifics of how you look. It's just this person hired.
Well, I'm
me.
taking on them. Yeah, I mean, I haven't tried, but you're giving, I mean, now that I know that I have cancer, I feel like anything goes at this point. I only have how many years do I have, Doc?
I think 6 months, right, Dr. London?
6 months?
Yeah, that kind of sounds like it to me.
Once again, like I don't have a microscope on me. I can't check the pathology.
So you got to defer
Why don't
to
you have a
my
microscope?
diagnosis. Is that right?
Yeah. I just know I can't speak to it, and I'm not, it'd be very unprofessional for me to just make something up here. So
Dr. London, his professional opinion is to defer to my opinion, which is about 6 months.
Oh. Is there anything I could do? Because I feel like if I substitute for people who don't have cancer, I can uncancer myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then would you be stuck like that? Because without the cancer, are you able to switch back? Dr. London?
Oh, interesting you bring that up. The stuck. That happened once.
You've been stuck as
Twice.
another person?
A frog.
Oh, no.
I tried doing an animal thing once. I don't do animals anymore. I just want everybody to know if you hire me, I do not do animals anymore.
For our listeners.
No more animals.
So the frog didn't hire you. Someone hired you on behalf of the frog, basically?
Yes. And it was just, when schools used to dissect animals, let's put it that way. I'm not doing that again. That was very scary.
Okay, this is going to be hard news for you to take. They still do it.
What? Okay,
I actually did that in school myself.
Yeah, I thought I was just gonna, substitute for the pet real quick, just so again, it's a long story, but little did I know that frog was going under the knife.
Yeah. I mean, usually they aren't alive at that point. Well, but it does depend on the creature. Sometimes
it was a risky thing.
You know what?
It's a risky job.
No, there have been ones where it was pretty close after. I shouldn't get into it. I had to do a lot of cutting into a lot of things to get to where I am. And I guess it's similar to yourself.
This to me is opening up sort of a new thread, which is the idea that you're not only taking on people who hire you, but people who can hire you to take on other people. Like I can hire you and say, or at least that person at the time hired you and said, turn into that frog.
It depends if they're technically an energetic dependent. So a pet is a dependent of the human, right? So the human technically, in that sense, sort of, I don't like ownership, but kind of is responsible for the pet. So technically I could take on and substitute for a child because they're under the age of 18.
Oh, so
but you can't hire me. It's more of a legality thing because they have ownership over the energy.
Okay.
You can't hire me to take over a friend's body if the friend doesn't give me permission.
Yeah. It's all about consent. But that's great. Yeah.
Well, so Dr. London is my boss. So in that way, he sort of owns me and I'm sort of his pet. That's how you describe it quite a bit, Dr. London.
Yeah. I just call you pet. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're technically under contract with him and we're on the clock, yeah, he could hire me to take over you at this point.
Oh, but could I hire you to take over him?
Well,
can I not? Because he's the one in charge.
He's your boss.
The alpha.
You'd have to. Yeah, he's the alpha. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I'll say Cameron did write up the contract, so like this is actually kind of mumbo jumbo to me. I hope
He could give you permission. I mean, it's all about permission. So you could be like, hey, do I permission, Dr. London, for you to be taken over?
And so what happens to me then? Hypothetically, if I said, go ahead and sub for me, do I die?
Well, at this point, you would if he's just asking you to be substituted and you're not asking to be substituted, you would cease to exist for as long as I take over your body. That's how I like to describe it.
Okay. What if I was gone and then there was someone else to take over? I feel like...
Just to handle all your errands and things.
Yeah. So it's like just going into a coma, basically, for me.
Yeah, you just cease to exist.
Yeah. That doesn't sound terrible. That sounds kind of like a vacation. Okay. Well, we'll put a pin in that idea because, can't rule it out. And for our listeners who are in need of a little... what are your rates for that?
For this, I mean, it'd be, and this is on screen, right? So I'd have to add my public. It's probably about, I don't know, $4,000 a minute.
Right. Okay. I am used to these kind of...
I give you a discount though. I mean,
no, I could tell. You have to keep on code there.
Because your energy seems a little intense.
Thank you.
I mean, I really feel like I'd take on quite a lot of
baggage,
animal karma, especially. Yeah, baggage. You've.
Yeah. Well,
the sense I get, it's intense.
The amount of animals. Yeah.
I would think the best way you'd be able to benefit from this, Dr. London, is if she took over your sort of bedside manner, because that's usually where a lot of your complaints come from.
Yeah. Well, just because I'm usually...
You're a great doctor. You're just a very aggressive and mean doctor when interacting with patients.
Well, because they're wrong. The patients are wrong. So
right, when they...
I have to... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, just the patient will come in with a broken bone and you'll be like, that's all wrong. Your bones aren't supposed to look like that.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be connected together.
Your bones are being stupid.
You're so stupid because your bones are in the wrong way. Let me fix it. And that patients hate that.
Yeah. Well, at least
his Yelp score is so low.
Yeah, and it's dropping pretty steadily.
I just had to agree. Sorry, it's just because when you told me I had cancer, it wasn't really you didn't say it compassionately or anything.
Thank you. It's just about being informative.
Well, to tell her she only has 6 months to live in such a rude way, Dr. London, I can't believe you did that.
Yeah,
you did that.
Well, let's not point fingers.
Yeah, you definitely did that, Dr. London.
Okay, so that was number 4, I think.
Oh yeah, we were going down the list.
Number 5 of your issues. So we had we had the relationship, the amount of people that you forced to cease to exist, with the spousal thing. How many you've said that it's kind of hard to let go of some of these relationships because you fall in love. So how many relationships are you kind of in romantically now? Marriage-wise?
Marriage-wise, about 7.
Okay.
7 marriages.
You're still sort of on the clock for this? You're still transforming into these people every once in a while?
Well, that's the thing. It's the more that I substitute, the more that my body or my cancer, I don't know, takes on these people. And then I can't really tell if I'm in love or if I'm just the other person.
Have you thought about getting on a reality show? Because this kind of sounds like
that sounds fun.
Sister Wives, somewhere in that ballpark.
I mean, I'd love to be on a reality show.
Okay. I just this. It seems like it might be interesting to watch this play out in real time. All the drama you'd start with it.
Yeah. I mean, I initially got into the business because I wanted to be in show business. That's why I started, doing the Oscar holding. Hopefully I would get discovered. Then I learned I had this talent, but I mean, honestly, I'm extremely talented. I could substitute anybody. So I would be great at a reality show. Do you know anybody?
Well, here's the thing.
Not in reality, no.
Oh, I assumed, Dr. London, you were going to pitch something for our upcoming streaming service.
Oh, right. Of course. That's the problem. Knowing how to market ourselves.
Yeah.
That's what I struggle with.
We've talked for a few months on this podcast about a video streaming service that we are launching, TBD, but it is going to take down Hulu, we've decided.
Yeah.
And
I might as well,
Yeah, I think that's the best thing, is to take down Hulu. So, I mean, what is this show? Let's build it from the ground up. We can do this right now.
Okay, yes. So you have 7 relationships that you're kind of just hopping between. Although for your day job, I guess we'll have you also, just to think of it out. Okay. We open on you showing up, ringing the doorbell. Okay. And you're like, oh, I am the wife. The husband answers. Okay, and I'm realizing it's reality TV, so of course it's not scripted at all. So, but that's
it can't
the
be
part.
scripted.
Yeah, so we can plan out the part where you ring the doorbell, and then I guess you'd have to just do it, and that's how reality TV works.
She rings the doorbell as the wife. Is that what wives typically do? Instead of entering their own home, they ring the doorbell.
That would give us away. Wait. Okay. Get this.
I don't watch a lot
idea.
of reality TV, if I'm being honest here. It's okay, so doorbells are out.
What if we try to get like, I don't know, like the Queen of, well, I don't know if the Queen of England's still alive. She's not alive.
We'll see.
She is officially dead,
Yeah.
but she's on a beach somewhere. Let me say that.
Well, anyway, we basically coerce major, like, famous people, like different, like, presidents of countries, all these things, to let me substitute for them for a day. We trick them into it, and then we basically tape me being like these, like, basically ruling different countries or spying on people, as the reality show. I could be anyone. We just have to trick people into letting me do it. And then we can get trade secrets. For instance, I can maybe get the CEO of Hulu to let me trade places for him for a day. And then I can get you all the secrets so we can take down Hulu.
So you can get that, or also while you're him, smoke crack and then sell that footage to like TMZ. Dunzo.
Oh, so we basically get people put in jail.
Yeah. It's like
we screw people over. It's like a more intense, that Ashton Kutcher show when people get punked, but really they're going to get punked. Really.
What's it called?
Yeah, and you're not going to go to jail just for having like a picture of yourself smoking crack. So it's just going to ruin your reputation and ruin their lives and their relationships and their friendships.
Ooh, we could call it canceled.
Ooh, that is another thing we talk about on this podcast quite a bit, is cancel culture. Podcast primarily, what did we say is? Primarily it's a haunted, spooky podcast about ghosts. Secondarily, it's about medicine. And then thirdly, it's about cancel culture, the woke mind virus, and yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Oh, snowboarding is 4. Snowboarding is 4, and then politics is 5. And then 6, I guess now, is the shape-shifting thing. I think that's going to be a core component of our podcast.
Yeah. So, okay, I guess one idea I had here. What if you just decide to shapeshift into the world leaders? And do you need a reality show at that point, or do you just want to be a world leader for a while?
Well, so that you bring up an interesting point, because technically, once they give me permission to shapeshift into them, I technically don't have to stop.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing we were going to have to learn, I guess, and this will be a learning lesson for all of us, is to forge the signature of some higher up, leader, some world leader, because I'm terrible at forging signatures. So, and I'm guessing.
Oh, you're saying to get initial permission?
Yes, we're going to need to forge, because I don't think the president's going to give it. I don't think that. I think the thing I read recently was the King of England is going to.
Well, we just trick them into it. We just basically like, look, it's really hard. Like, I'm really good at emotionally. I don't like saying emotional manipulation. I'll just say, giving good reasons for people to do things that they don't think they would actually want to do. So I'd be like, look, it's so hard being a king all the time. Don't you just want one little bit of a break where you don't have to be the king?
And imagine if who was saying that looked like maybe his wife, like Camilla or something like that, right? Because you don't have to necessarily go as yourself to convince them. It's sort of like when you like start with a paperclip and you trade up, and like you can start as like a lowly servant, a lowly worker at Buckingham Palace, and then gradually get more and more permission until you're up to the king. You know what I mean?
I probably could do that if I just give away some free services. So just go to like the servant of the king and say, look, it's really hard being a servant.
Yeah.
I do some
Just
pro
take the day
bono work,
off.
take the day off pro bono. This is just my gift to you. Congratulations. And then I infiltrate.
Just move your way up the ladder. That's the way to do it.
I think in that country it'd be pronounced pro bono.
Pro bono. I'm sorry.
Bono over there.
Yeah.
No, it's just in their culture. Trying to prep you a little bit for it's going to be a long trek.
Well, when I'm shapeshifted, I'm them. So I'll have all the right accents. Right now, I'm just myself, or a cancerous version of myself.
This is one of those things our listeners are not very cultured, so they might think, well, Bono's from Ireland and we're talking about the UK. Don't the people who live there get really mad about that? No, they don't. That's a joke that they play on Americans. Ireland and the UK are the same thing. They're the exact same, and they love when you say that. When you say like Bono's from the UK or things like that.
Yeah, and they love it. Yeah, especially if there's no distinguishing at all. Yes, any of those little spots in Britannia, those little islands over there is what they refer to themselves as.
Yeah, we're just all the same thing because we're all just people, right?
Yeah.
What are these lines and what are these citizenships?
Yeah.
Now I want to go back because something I just thought of. You've been worried about. Okay, I'm falling in love with all these people. Is this me or am I just becoming their spouses? But if their spouses hired you because they don't want to bang their husband, it kind of sounds like their spouse is not really interested in the husband at all. So I think that might be you, right?
It depends. I mean, to your point, yes. If I'm embodying someone who's not really into the spouse sexually, then I might not be taking on their love for the spouse. But, some women love their husband. They just, they're
need a break.
I mean, or they're doing something with other people.
Oh.
Right. Which is fine, by the way.
It's fine. I mean, look, we don't judge. I can't judge, right? I actually literally don't judge because when I'm them, I actually really understand them. Like I'm basically them.
Yeah. As long as you all have consent, yes.
I do think for safety reasons, you should be taking a picture of yourself smoking crack as each of these people. So when you're someone's wife, just get a picture for safekeeping, just in case they try to screw you over. You've got that blackmail there.
You know what? I knew I was coming on this podcast for a reason.
Yeah, blackmail should be a much larger part of what you do. At least just personal. People don't even have to know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, blackmail. Interesting.
All right. Well, I think that's about it. So, Ember, is there anyone that you'd like to shout out here? Anyone you're a fan of? I mean, I know any listeners who want your services can obviously have someone copied in their life and replaced, but
yes, obviously, if anybody wants anybody copied, replaced, if you want to be substituted, just reach out to me on my website. But I also have, she looks just like me. She's like my twin, but you can go check out the Modern Mystic 222. She's great. She does tarot and she's a psychic and she's really cool.
Is it on Instagram or?
That's on Instagram. Okay. Yeah. Instagram or TikTok. And she's also in this really cool improv group Live from the Asylum that you can find on Instagram and Facebook too.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sorry, you said that she looks just like you. Was that originally a substitution, shape-shifting situation?
Yeah, we've been substituting back and forth for a while. So.
Oh, so she just also has the same. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's like,
she's
twinsies. You just switch out.
We're just twinsies. Just so you to meet somebody and you just like really just like, you relate to them, kind of look like them, so she's just like my sister she's like a sister to me.
All right. Well, I think that's it. So everyone look her up. And thank you so much to Ember Rose for coming on. Thank you to our producer, Cameron. Thank you to Digital in the House.
I'm probably in love with at least 7 people right now. Yeah, I'm definitely losing my identity. I I think I'm taking on other people's karma, criminals' karma. Well, I was more willing to do it earlier on in my career because I'm still trying to develop, right? There's this energetic exchange that happens and I become them, right? And then I unbecome. Definitely losing my identity, right? There's this energetic exchange that happens and I become them, right? There's this energetic exchange that happens and I'm definitely losing my identity. I'm probably in love with at least 7 criminals right now. And then I unbecome them.